gonna try to do one of those things where I film 2 videos back to back. I haven't done that in a while. I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to get the hang of that, because I feel like because I look semi-dramatic, when you see this look back to back, it is more noticeable than some people who just have like a nude lip and mascara. Hello, welcome back to my story. If you did not know, my name is Harley Nouveau, and in today's chapter, right now, we are going to do and it's been a long time, another rendition of Prince in the PEA-SIZED reviews. So if you don't know how this works, I'm going to go through a number of items that I don't think I want to dedicate a whole video to, but I do want to talk about with you guys and let you know how I feel about them, if I love them, if they're happily ever after, if I hate them, if they're happily never after, and I'll let you know so that you can kind of get a feel about them in case you're wondering about buying. I don't know if I really have much updates for this. I got contacts now. I got licensed. I'm supposed to start my job in a couple days, and of course I got my nails done. So yeah, before we begin, if you are not already, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Add your name to the storybook that is my life. You can see how this book unfolds. So with that all being said, let's get on with this. So I think I'm going to talk about skincare items first. I only have 2 of those, but I figured it would just be easier. So the first thing that we have is this Revolution Skincare London Glycolic Acid Toner. This is 2.5%, and according to the website,
this exfoliating skincare savior works to cleanse and condition your skin. It is formulated with ginseng, a brightening antioxidant, aloe vera to soothe and condition, and witch hazel to tighten pores.
So I'd never actually tried Revolution Skincare before. Jasmine had told me a lot about it. She hadn't tried it either, but she had watched a few people that had. And if you know anything about skincare, you don't have to. We'll get into that eventually, because I'm going to start doing that more on my channel. Glycolic is great for people who have overly oily skin, and if you've watched a video of mine before, or if you haven't, I have very oily skin. So I was looking for a glycolic to add into my routine, and I had pretty much everything in my routine except for a toner. Now, if you didn't know, there are basically 2 classifications of toner. One is to help balance the pH level of your skin, tone. The other one is the one that most people are familiar with, which would be like the clean and clear kind of toner. It's actually more of an astringent. So when you talk about toner and skincare, it's important to differentiate between the 2. This is more of a astringent kind of toner, which means that it's going to be more stripping of your oils and your sebum and your acid mantle. Looking at the ingredients, of course, we talked about ginseng, aloe vera, and witch hazel. Typically, I shy away from witch hazel because it's one of those things that people who really aren't educated about skincare frequently tote as being a holy grail. But witch hazel is it's like an alcohol. So it's very drying on the skin, and not in a normally healthy way. Frequently, if you use witch hazel too often, you'll find that your skin becomes too dry. The aesthetics industry really shy away from recommending witch hazel to people. So I was really hesitant going into this. Looking at the ingredients list, witch hazel is in 4th place, pretty high up there, so it's going to be concentrated. I figured that I could counteract the witch hazel with other products in my routine, so I wanted to really focus on this for the glycolic, because glycolic is actually the 2nd ingredient in this, which is very good. If you're trying to add anything to your skincare routine, you'll want to, the selling point, you want it to be high up on the list. If you go to get a vitamin C serum and vitamin C is like 15 down, it's not a very good vitamin C serum. So I decided to give it a shot, and I've been using this now for probably 10 weeks. I don't want to say drastic change. I have noticed a very good change in my skin. I feel as though since I've started using this product, the oiliness of my skin has been more controlled. There's been less oil production. It has kind of evened out that aspect of it. Now, it is a glycolic acid, so there is some exfoliating properties, if you will, but because it is so minute, this is 2.5, I didn't find it overly harsh on the skin, and that's probably also combined with the aloe vera. Me, over the past 10 weeks, however many weeks I just said, I haven't really had any bad side effects, and I feel like the benefits that I have received kind of outweigh any of the hesitancies I had going into it. This does retail for $14, so I feel like it's a pretty affordable addition to your skincare routine, because a lot of glycolics especially can run you on the higher end. You do have other brand options like The Ordinary that you could look into, but they sell this at Target, so it's pretty easily accessible. I would say even with my reservations, this is definitely a happily ever after. I think this is something you should look into. If you want to try Revolution Skincare and you specifically are looking for a glycolic, I do, however, want to caution you, if you use this, make sure that you're using sunscreen, because, and it even says on the website, using any type of acid will make your skin more sensitive to sun damage. So, next up I have the e.l.f. Illuminating Eye Cream. This is technically part of their Holy Hydration line, although my unit does not say that. If you go onto their website, it does say that. So, according to their site,
The e.l.f. Illuminating Eye Cream is a nourishing cream that helps hydrate and minimize the appearance of dark circles and puffiness for glowing, healthy-looking skin. Ingredients include purified water, skin nourishing
jojoba, I don't know how to say that word.
Vitamin E, and cucumber to help soothe and protect the delicate skin around the eye.
Oh, e.l.f. is another one of those brands that I'd never really looked into their skincare until recently. I had tried some of their other products, including their makeup balm and their normal Holy Hydration cream. And I was in the market for an eye cream, and if you're familiar with skincare, you know that eye cream is one of the more expensive things. So when I saw that this was only $10, I was intrigued, to say the least. And I did some research online and saw that a lot of people actually included a few e.l.f. items in their Holy Grail skincare list, and this was one of them. So I figured I would take a shot. Looking at their ingredient list, you have water, butylene glycol, dimethicone, and then cucumber fruit extract in that order. Now, dimethicone, I believe, is a emollient kind of product, so it helps with the slip and the spreadability, if you will. I've been using this for even longer than I have the toner, and for me, I've really been enjoying it. Now, with some stuff going on in my life these past couple weeks, I've kind of slipped with how often I've used it, and I have noticed a difference. Now, getting up close, I don't know what my underlight looks like on camera. Typically, it's pretty fine lining, especially when I put makeup on, and I've noticed before putting on makeup, this has helped a lot with that. Now, there's not anything in this world that's going to get rid of that completely, except for maybe cosmetic surgery. So I wasn't hoping for a miracle. My eyes are very nourished, and it feels like it's more healthy and in better condition than when I started, for sure. So I think that the e.l.f. Illuminating Eye Cream is also a happily ever after. If you're in the market for an eye cream and you don't want to spend a lot of money, I say that this is definitely something you should look into. I've talked to Jasmine about that so much, she can tell you. So, you go try it yourself. But I'm always an advocate for trying to find the more affordable alternative while not sacrificing quality. So, moving on to the cosmetic portion of today's programming. Again, from Revolution. This is the Revolution Pro Blur Stick. Now, from this point forward, if you look up in one of the corners, you're gonna see me apply some of these products. So keep an eye out for that. According to the internet,
Leave skin perfectly smooth and matte. Swipe on and blend out to diffuse fine lines and large pores. Apply before foundation or use alone as an invisible foundation to create an illusion of even texture on bare skin.
I see where Becca got the idea from. This is suitable for all skin types and tones, and it's lightweight and breathable. Retails for $15. I actually think I got mine for cheaper than that, and I got mine at Target, so that's a bit surprising. Looking online, the reviews for this were not great. I don't know why I decided to take a leap on this, especially if you've seen my videos about primers. You know that I think they're kind of a gimmick. A good moisturizer will do most of that for you. However, I will say there are a lot of things I like about this. It really reminds me of putty primers, like the e.l.f. putty primer or the Tatcha one that the e.l.f. is a dupe of. It's very similar in consistency to that, but it's in, of course, a stick format. But if you feel it and you apply it onto the skin, very similar concept. This one is a blurring one, which means it's a pore filling one. Typically, I find that for primers, those can work really great if you don't disturb them underneath your foundation. Today, I'm using a higher quality camera than I used to, so you might notice my skin texture a bit more than normal. Today is my first time using it underneath the foundation, and I don't really feel like there was much of a benefit there, if I'm being completely honest. This foundation specifically, which I'll get to in a minute, I don't think it really blurred much. It did maybe help with grip a little bit, but by itself, I've worn it a few times now, and if you get the application down, I feel like it really does make your skin look very good. I wore it the other day, and I kept looking in the mirror when I was out and about because I felt like my skin had not looked that great in a long time. And a lot of it was because this kind of blurred the face. I'm actually gonna try it in an upcoming video where I test out the L'Oreal Infallible Powder Foundation because I'm intrigued to see how it works in combo with that. It does feel kind of lightweight to me. It is blendable. It does dry clear, so I'm sure it's good for different skin types and tones. I haven't noticed any overly any negative side effects of wearing it a long time. It hasn't made me break out, and I've used it probably at least a week or two now. It hasn't made me more oily than normal at the end of the day. So if you are looking for something underneath your foundation, I would say shy away from this. But if you're looking for something for like a no makeup day, I think that this would actually be a really good purchase. So for that reason, I think that this is a happily ever after. And a happily never after. It's both, honestly. I can see though why it has such mixed reviews online though, because depending on what camp you're in, you'll either really like it or you'll really hate it. Next up, I have two items from Dollar General, and these are from the Believe Beauty line. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Believe Beauty Cream Blush, and this doesn't have a color on it because at Dollar General they put these security tags that stick to everything, and if you remove them because they're ugly when you get home, it rips like the entire packaging up, so be prepared for that. Believe Beauty is one of those like diamonds in the rough I've found. I don't remember how I ended up looking into it at Dollar General, but they have some really good quality items. Their foundation is actually one of my favorite foundations of all time. And blush has been very popular this year, especially cream ones. And I'd heard great things about their cream blush from Juicy Jazz, so I wanted to go give it a shot. I have the color Tropical Sunset, which is sort of like an orangey tone, a warm tone, coral, if you will. According to the website, this creamy blush will give you a healthy glow and an effortless pop of color for your cheeks. Very to the point, not much on the description. They do have an ingredients list, but don't really need to break down cosmetic ingredients for you. And then you can use this with your fingers, you can use it with a brush. You can add more, you can do however you want to wear it. I usually put it on with a stippling brush and then blend it out with my fingers. If I feel like it's too much, I'll go over it with my foundation brush or a beauty blender. The color on this, I feel like, is pretty good actually. It's very similar to another blush that I have. Very similar in tone to this when you put it on. And this is the Milani Coral Cove blush, which is one of my favorites. So I liked that aspect of it. The consistency I feel like is really good. From the cream blushes that I've tried, I love the finish that it gives. If you watch me blending it out, it blends out really easily. The only downside I would say, and it's really a good thing, but it's a downside if you're a beginner, is that it's very pigmented. A little bit goes a long way. If you saw in the footage of me, I put on way too much over here and had to kind of finesse that out. So it's kind of a learning curve when it comes to figuring out the appropriate amount to use, but I think it's very good quality. It's beautiful pigmentation, it's beautiful coverage, it's a beautiful finish, and it is definitely something that would benefit most people in their collection if you like cream blush. So for that reason, this is a happily ever after for me as well. This does retail for $5, $4.50, depending if you get it in person or on the website. Boy, everything has just been really positive today. Next up, we have the Believe Beauty Lock It In Eyeshadow Primer. This, again, is from Dollar General, and according to the website,
increase your eyeshadow performance with our weightless matte eyeshadow primer. This smooth eye primer will blend seamlessly into your eyelid while extending shadow wear.
And it comes in a universal color or a translucent. This is translucent. You get about 0.11 fluid ounces. I don't really know how great that is as far as product goes for a primer. I know my Milani primer is 0.3 fluid ounces. Not great, but for the price point, it's okay, $4. This was something I went and got because of Juicy Jazz here on YouTube. It says it's one of her favorites. And I was intrigued because typically I trust her opinion on most things. I was very, very sadly disappointed to find that I freaking hate this primer. I used it today, and looking up close, I mean, it helps with color for sure. The problem is that it's extremely sticky, and not like in a normal tacky eyeshadow based kind of way, but almost like if you were to take a glue stick and put it on your eyes, that kind of sticky. And not only is it sticky, if you go on top of it with a brush, it makes your brush hard and sticky as well, from what I found. So maybe if you set it with a translucent powder, it wouldn't be too bad. When I was applying it, it was making my eyeshadow extremely patchy, and it made the brush perform worse and worse as I used it on my lid. I don't think the benefits really outweigh that drawback, because there are plenty of affordable eye primers out there that do the same thing, if not better, and they don't destroy your chances of doing your eyeshadow with the brush that you touch it with. I don't think the whole point of having an eyeshadow primer, in my opinion, is to skip some of the steps you would have to take when you use like concealer or foundation, such as powdering it first. So the fact that for all intents and purposes you would need to powder this primer down, or it messes up your shadow in your brush, really is a deal breaker for me. So more so than most products I can think of in recent memory, this is a happily never after. This is a hell to the no. Next up, we have this, I guess you could say it went viral. This is the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. This is in the color 120N, and according to the website,
this is a color correcting cream that is the only product you need to achieve a natural looking complexion with full coverage. This multitasking dream cream infused with collagen, peptides, and niacinamide will plump, hydrate, and smooth the appearance of your skin while protecting with SPF 30.
There's a lot to unpack here. First and foremost, SPF in makeup, really a gimmick. The amount of SPF you are supposed to use to achieve the level of protection it says, like SPF 30, is going to be typically, I want to say, half of a teaspoon, and that's of sunscreen completely by itself. When you put it in makeup, it dilutes it, so you have to use even more to reach that level of protection. So if you are using the recommended amount of this, which would be enough to cover your face without making you look like you have bulletproof armor on, you probably are going to get maybe half of the amount of sunscreen you should have. So this probably would end up being more of like an SPF 10 in effect. On top of that, SPF is known to be an ingredient that causes people to break out, so I don't think it's beneficial to put in the makeup because you kind of limit your target audience. This retails for $14, by the way. As far as the skincare aspect of this, like the niacinamide and the peptides and the collagen, that's great. I like that we're kind of going into the skincare and our makeup trend. Again, though, it dilutes the ingredient a bit, so definitely not a replacement for skincare. Niacinamide helps with breakouts, so maybe that's supposed to counteract the SPF. It also helps with redness, and I know that collagen is definitely something most people can benefit from. So that's lovely. As far as color correcting full coverage natural finish, I have some thoughts. I know that this is supposed to be a dupe for the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. To me, the IT Cosmetics CC Cream is super heavy. This says use 1 to 2 pumps. Today I used 1 on my whole face, so you get a good amount of wearability from it. My biggest problem comes from the colors and the overall weight. Now looking up close, it doesn't really settle into my fine lines more than most products do. You might not be able to tell that because, you know, you don't really see this part of me that often. But I have noticed when I use this that it feels really heavy, first of all. It looks kind of cakey to me, and you can definitely dilute it. I'm not a full coverage queen. Some people are into that. So the coverage is great. I'm not blasting that. It's the natural finish I have a problem with. You don't look natural. I like to judge products for what they do, so I'm not judging that it's cakey being full coverage. I'm judging that it's cakey and it's natural. Obviously, my skin is a bit shiny, and I powdered, so I suppose that luminosity is the natural finish of it. But I don't like when products are described as a natural finish. I keep doing this. Unless it's supposed to be achieving like a your skin but better kind of look. The Good Apple foundation does that for the first 5 seconds. I know my Believe Beauty foundation does that, and so does my L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear. So I kind of have to disagree on the natural finish. Color correcting, full coverage, yes. A little bit heavy, so definitely not lightweight. It says this works as a moisturizer too. Don't do that. I recommend using this with a sponge or using a brush and then going over it with a sponge to pull out the excess product. It'll help reduce the cake. So on the Ulta website, unless I'm completely illiterate, and that's possible, I only count 15 colors. For a full coverage product, that's not amazing. I know Ulta doesn't carry the same amount sometimes as the normal website, so let me go to actualelf.com before I say that. 20. e.l.f. website has 20. Again, not fantastic. Looking at the range though, it's pretty decent. Actually, looking online, it looks like there are only a handful that fit paler complexion people, which is not a complaint. That's actually like very rare. I'm surprised. So that's good. I just feel like for something full coverage, you need to have a larger range because it blocks a lot of your natural pigmentation, so it's harder to match to the rest of your skin. So you run into issues where your face looks different from your body. I even have a little bit of that going on right now. Not a ton, just a little bit. I'm wearing the lightest shade, and even then I would say it's slightly too dark. And by slightly, I mean it's probably a shade and a half darker than I would prefer. So that's not the greatest. The biggest issue I have with the color though is the tube looks nothing like the actual color in practice. When I went to go get this, I was a safe bet that I was the lightest shade because I frequently am one of the lightest shades. And it's a neutral undertone, which is great. So I lucked out. Jasmine, we tried to figure out what the hell her shade was supposed to be, and it was very difficult because this is not indicative of this for the most part. This is very misleading. And in the age of COVID, you can't open up testers at the store. So I think that it was kind of a bad design choice on their part to have this be color. I would say this should have been see-through so you could see the color inside. That's just my personal opinion. So with all of that being said, I would say for what it is a soft happily ever after. A soft one. If you're into full coverage and you like CC creams, I don't think it's bad. I think it's better than the It Cosmetics one for sure. So if you want to spend 14 bucks, 18 depending on where you go, I've noticed. Check it out, I guess, if you're into that. And then finally, we have the Maybelline Sky High Mascara. According to the website,
The Sky High Mascara delivers full volume and limitless length. The mascara brush bends to volumize and extend every single lash from root to tip. This is a washable mascara formula infused with bamboo extract and fibers for long, full lashes that never get weighted down.
I purely got this, which retails for $11.49 on Ulta, because of TikTok. This thing went crazy on TikTok. It was sold out everywhere. I found one in person, and it was in the color Very Black, not waterproof, and I figured I'd try it. my first thoughts, I actually am a fan of this kind of one. I don't really like the really thick ones like this, even though I love this mascara, where it's like that, because I find that it's harder to get accuracy and precision. So I do like the one a lot. As far as the mascara formula, fibers kind of turn me off immediately. The Thrive Cosmetics mascara I really loved was tubular as well, and that's what I think of when I think of fibers, and that might not necessarily be the case, but in my opinion, frequently mascaras like that are harder to remove. Looking up close, I think this is 2 coats, by the way. It doesn't look too bad. It doesn't transfer the few times that I've worn it. It doesn't crumble, which is a big complaint I have with the Better Than Sex mascara. And I think it holds its shape pretty well. I also really like, if you touch the root of your lash, this kind of adds like a faux eyeliner effect to your eye, which I think is very beneficial. I also think that this is great for bottom lashes. My biggest complaint, which isn't really like a big complaint, is that I've only really seen 2 shades, Blackest Black and Very Black. I wish that they had like a dark brown, because I like brown mascara. As far as this mascara though goes, I actually really like it. I can see why it's sold out, honestly. I think, again, it wears well, it looks great. Multiple coats are needed. I don't know if I would say it volumizes and lengthens. I would say it's more of a lengthening than a volumizing, but I think that overall this is pretty great. I would say this is definitely a happily ever after. So if you're looking for a new mascara, give it a shot. You might not be disappointed. And there you have it, my first Prince and the Pea-Sized review in quite a while. A little bit weird. I'm getting back into the swing of things all around. But we had mostly some good reception, one very lukewarm reception, and one that was just horrid. I believe that this is going to be getting uploaded after the review for the eyeshadow palette that I put this look on with, which, if you don't know, is the Storybook Cosmetics Starry Night palette. So if you want to see my thoughts on this, go check that out. Otherwise, I want to thank you again for stopping by and spending this time with me. Hopefully you liked this video. If you have any thoughts on any of these products, you disagree, you agree, or you have thoughts on this in general, please comment down below. And yeah, as always, I am Harley Nouveau, and I wish each of you every happiness until our stars next align.